Hey guys, it's my Tyler here. Sorry for this weird episode. It's gonna be basically I recorded it, but Windows updated, and for some reason the microphone just didn't pick up any sound at all. So I'm going to be re-recording the audio for this. Basically, just going through the episode like I was going through it live. Not much is really going to change, and I'm going to address some stuff at the end of this episode. So skip the formalities. This is the go home to the Backlash draft event. Let's just jump right into the show. So we open up the show with Tyson Kidd basically comes out, and this is I got a really fucking good promo, so I'm gonna try to do it again. Basically, he calls up Markiplier. He's like, "What the fuck is going on with Markiplier? Get your ass out here right now, boy." He's got his suit on. He's obviously the SmackDown general manager, and Markiplier comes out and is like, "Look, I'm not gonna pretend like I know anything about wrestling. I'm not even gonna pretend like I really give a shit about wrestling, but you have to believe me, Tyson. You've only known me for a bit, but trust me. I am a time traveler." And Tyson Kidd's like, "Oh my fucking god." And Markiplier's like, "I come from the year 2020. And everything is fucked. Like, legitimately everything. Wrestling and not is absolutely fucked. So I've come back in time through means which I will not talk about because that would be spoilers. And I have thoroughly changed the course of it. I've already changed various events. Things. My hand has been here, even in WWE, because apparently WWE is the center of all events in the universe. Things like John Cena's title reign, the heel turn, the Cody Rhodes, and Tyson Kidd's like, "Wait, what?" And we just skip over that part. And Markiplier's like, "You have to trust me. I'm literally stuck playing a fucking kid's game that is designed to scare like fucking 8-year-olds for like 3 years and of my life, and I don't want to do that. I need this WWE CEO position badly. I need it. I crave it, and that's why I did what I did." And Tyson Kidd's just like, "Mark, what the fuck are you even talking about?" And Shitman's like, "You know what? Obviously, he's fucking completely off his fucking rocker, but you know what? I think it's fair to say that we should give Markiplier a fair shake, in this deal. We don't have any other choice. As long as just Stratus isn't dead, then, I think we're fine." And Tyson Kidd's like, "Are you serious? Are you fucking serious?" And he throws his hands up. He's like, "You know what? Fuck it. Why not? I hate this fucking job already." And he walks out, and he's just grumbling to himself. And Markiplier has a big smile on his face as he has secured the women's GM position, at least for now. Next up, we have a squash match between Jack Swagger and Make a Difference Hernandez. Jack Swagger, put the pretty hard-hitting match between these two. Make a Difference Hernandez tries to make a difference for the kids, but Jack Swagger puts him in that fucking ankle lock and just taps him out. Colt Cabana is also on commentary for this match. And he just kind of commentates about Jack Swagger wanting the IC title, how it's fucking kind of stupid, and hyping up also his match at Backlash with Austin Aries, the NXT champion. There's then no surprise as Colt Cabana is on commentary. Austin Aries just blindly attacks Colt Cabana. Austin Aries, obviously the NXT champion, allowed to go in between brands as he is, and he just starts beating up Colt Cabana. Colt Cabana eventually rebounds. They start brawling. Jack Swagger is kind of just looking on like, "Huh, that's neat. Whatever." And that's about basically that whole segment, hyping up their match at Backlash. We have another match, a kind of steal the show variety between Frankie Kazarian and Tyler Breeze, with Frankie Kazarian picking up the win after a wave of the future. Obviously, not really a young guy in like theory. Frankie Kazarian's obviously young to the WWE system, and the commentary is kind of hype that he has kind of a short silent run on SmackDown, but with the draft, who knows what could happen with new fresh faces, anything. And we're basically just highlighting the young people on the roster. After that, we have a big 6-man tag team. Another one will happen at the conclusion of this show, the main event, but we'll get to that, and we'll get to it as Mark Henry and the Saviors of Perfection take on Goldust and the Usos. Kind of a little story-driven match for these two, as Mark Henry kind of doesn't really work well with others. He's working with the Saviors of Perfection, but not really, if you know what I mean. He's doing hot, he's tagging himself in, he wants to get on the offense, and Goldust, though, is working, trying to teach the Usos a bit, about the ring, but unfortunately that kind of comes undone, as eventually Mark Henry basically plows his way through with the help of the sneakiness of the Savior's Perfection. Mark Henry eventually getting a bear hug on Jimmy Uso and tapping him out. After that, we kind of have the announcers hype up Mark Henry, especially also Jack Swagger in the dominant. We kind of hype that up, which will lead into the next segment, as well as we see a shot of Goldust, who looks pretty, kind of not lost, but just kind of, he's consoling Jimmy Uso as well as Jay. Another loss in their books, but hopefully they can rebound and make a comeback later down the line. Next, we get a shot of the Wyatt family in their usual compound. We also kind of hype that Bray Wyatt doesn't really have a brand anymore. He was on Raw, but he just moved to SmackDown because he's Bray Wyatt. You really can't control him, but he doesn't officially have a brand that may come into play in the draft. And he talks about his attack on Rey Mysterio. If you missed the last episode, Bray Wyatt attacked Rey Mysterio and just beat him senseless. It was pretty hardcore. But Bray, goes on to say that he attacked Ray for one reason only, is that he has accomplished his mission. No matter what you say, he killed the old gods of WWE. He has effectively done it. He cut the head off the snake, meaning so-called Steve Austin, and back to retirement, he has gone. But now, after you go from the gods, Sister Abigail has told him he needs to go for the people. And there's no bigger man of the people than the short Rey Mysterio, the hero, the conqueror, the David to Bray Wyatt's Goliath. And as the Goliath, he will rewrite the biblical tale. He says he will rewrite this story as the Goliath will crush David like never seen before. Obviously hyping up that he wants to fucking beat the shit out of Rey Mysterio. Nothing really new from a Wyatt promo, you get the gist. We have a very big segment in this part as we see Tyson Kidd in his new office. Markiplier is, of course, sharing it because he can't really be around the women. And Tyson Kidd is just staring daggers at Markiplier. He does not trust him one bit. When Derek Bateman comes out, Derek Bateman is like, I know you're still deciding for Team SmackDown, but I feel I have been discredited. I've been ignored on SmackDown the whole time I've been here. I want a shot. I want a chance to prove myself. I want to be on Team SmackDown, and you couldn't win without me. And Tyson Kidd is like, okay, sure. And Derek Bateman's like, what, really? Are you serious? And Tyson Kidd's like, yeah, I mean, you can't just walk in and ask for shots, but to your credit, yeah, you have been pretty overlooked. You've had some good matches, but, the last establishment didn't really see anything in you. They're more focused on the John Cena shit, so I think it's fair to say that you deserve that shot. You'll be teaming, in fact, I was about to mention, with Mark Henry and Jack Swagger against Team Raw, and the winner of that match, gets a pick in the draft. So, I hope you can put your money where your mouth is, Derek. And Derek just kind of freezes up a little bit, and he's like, I'm Dixie Carter's son. And he runs out, and Tyson Kidd's like, what the fuck, who's Dixie Carter? Whatever. And as he walks out, Derek Bateman, Madison Rayne struts in, and she says, look, Astrid, annoying, awful champion. But worse, AJ Lee. And she's talking to Markiplier, by the way. She just completely is fine with that fact, I guess. And she's like, I want AJ Lee banned at ringside of all my matches. I don't want her anywhere near me. I don't want her anywhere near my matches unless I'm beating the shit out of her. That's the only acceptable thing. And Markiplier, he starts his little tie thing and goes, you know what, Madison, I think you have a good point. AJ Lee has been disruptive to both me, the Coven, and you more specifically. She's just jealous that she doesn't have that Divas tie anymore. I will ban her from ringside of all of your matches. And Madison Lane goes, you know what, I like you, Mark. I think you're going to make a great general manager. And as she walks out, Tyson Kidd's like, are you fucking actually taking this job seriously? I'm genuinely surprised. Markiplier's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just figured that sounded good to say. And that's when we end that segment. We see an injured Colt Cabana being cared for by Samoa Joe and Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder cuts a promo with his World Heavyweight Championship. He said, the boys are in. A new era of SmackDown is upon us. Zack Ryder, Samoa Joe, Colt Cabana, the World Heavyweight Champion, the Intercontinental Champion, and the Kick-Ass Champion, Samoa Joe, take on Sheamus, Batista, the Hollywood Reject, and the Mr. Money in the Bank, Drew McIntyre, in tonight's main event. Zack says that they're going to prove to the world that SmackDown's the best show. They're going to do an awesome kick-ass main event, and they're going to have all their belts high. Samoa Joe doesn't have a belt, but Zack Ryder like ignores that, and he's like, "We're gonna hold our belts up high as we, the boys, mark the new era of SmackDown." And Zack's hyping up his team for the main event, which is next. And in that main event, we have a massive six-man tag, basically the biggest stars on SmackDown right now, and it's pretty back and forth. But eventually, the faces win when Zack Ryder pins Batista with a Rough Rider. Basically, Sheamus and Batista are still infighting, and that costs them a match. Drew McIntyre does really good in this match. Same thing with Samoa Joe. Colt Cabana was the weak link in it with a uncharacteristic 68. I'm sorry. But, still it's cool that the main event rating didn't get tanked too by it with all this talent in the ring. So it was an awesome match to end the go-home of SmackDown, but we don't specifically end there just yet. So we have the next segment here, the last segment, as essentially Zack Ryder, Sheamus, and Batista all have a big fight. But before the fight, Batista enters it. Batista's still in the ring, and he's just sitting there just lost, and he's fuming. He's like, how could I have lost all this time to a puny dork like Zack Ryder? Eventually he just strolls in, and he just starts wailing on both of them. There's no clear winner, but these three men, their problems aren't done just yet. No match for these three at the Backlash pay-per-view. It's a very smaller show, so I don't want all the champions there, but we can see that there are still big things to come on SmackDown when it comes to these three. And how will the draft shake up the World Heavyweight Championship picture? We'll just have to see. Here we have the final rating for the show. It is a 92. I want to thank everybody for watching this episode. I know it was a little chaotic with all the editing I had to do. Originally, I had made the statement in the video that I was going to upload Backlash by the time... I don't know if I mentioned this before. I'm moving with my parents for a month because they really want to see me. And I did not want to go, but now I'm just going to go. I said, fuck it. And I'm bringing the computer with me to both do work and, for fun. So TEW videos will continue. I was going to have the pay-per-view by Sunday. I don't know if it'll actually be on Sunday. It's a crapshoot. I have it recorded. Just the editing will be kind of take a little bit. And then from there, I'll address the situation as it goes on. But nothing too serious. Nothing, videos aren't going to stop. I just felt like it would be unfair to not keep you guys in the know. So thank you guys for watching again, and I'll see you next time for the Backlash All-Star Draft.